What's going on, everybody? C4, welcome back to the channel, and today we're here for episode 35 of the Carolina Panthers Madden 23 franchise mode. Hold your breaths. This is the draft episode. We are ahead of the 2024 NFL draft, and it's not, I'm nervous because we have 3 first-round draft picks. We have essentially mini blew up our team to acquire as many draft picks as we possibly can, to either be aggressive and go get our brand new quarterback, even though there's really 3 quarterbacks that we're kind of interested in, but that is an option. We need to replace Christian McCaffrey's production with DeAndre Swift and Chuba Hubbard. We're not going to be able to, it's one of those deals where, one guy's not going to be able to replace Christian McCaffrey. Maybe 2 will be able to. We are a team that still needs to add depth at different positions. We are a team that could, if we can get a big-time game changer at tight end, potentially continue to round out the offensive line. We can look at center. We can look at right guard. On the defensive side, can we upgrade over Gross Matos? Can we find a studly defensive tackle? Can we find someone that can come in and compete with the athlete Brandon Smith for a starting linebacker spot? Do we want to prioritize drafting in linebacker early, knowing that more often than not, we just have 2 linebackers on the field in Roquan Smith and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson? We don't really need to touch, in my opinion, the best secondary in the NFL with Horn, Jackson, Henderson, Keith Taylor, and Jeremy Chin. But we have to figure out what we're going to do. We have pick 13, 23, and 28 in the first round. We have 2 4s, a 5th, and a 7th to kind of round it out. None of them are our own pick. So we really have to do our damage in the first 3 rounds. I firmly believe that. Now, that's where things get a little interesting, because with these 3 picks, we kind of need 3 first-round players to improve this squad to get to a spot to compete and get back to the playoffs next year and eventually try to figure out how to win a Super Bowl with this Panthers team. But the argument could be made is that the most important spot, our most glaring opening, is at the quarterback spot, and if there is truly one quarterback that we need to go get, we are going to have to find a way to move up. The last mock draft, and these mock drafts are usually fairly accurate. You have Shane Drew going pick number 1 to the Jets. You have Gary Foote going pick number 3 to the Detroit Lions. These are the 2 quarterbacks that we have scouted, and while the stats look great, like on the side there, accuracies, all A's and B's, these are also the only 2 quarterbacks that are in the first round that have elite throw power. So those are going to be guys that you're talking 94, 95, 96, 97 plus throw power, which is something that we have missed since we had Baker Mayfield under center. But that's not to be said that the third option is not a fun option. The rope man himself, who honestly feels like the best fit out of all the quarterbacks, Joe North at 15. If there's a way that, North is there at 13, we don't move up. We keep all 3 of our picks. We get our quarterback at 13, and he looks very good. He looks like he's going to be the guy that might have 88, 87, 88 throw power, but his accuracy is going to be a lot better than what we have in Foote and Drew. And we've shown with Nick Foles that we don't necessarily need a quarterback with an absolute cannon of an arm, as long as they're going to be accurate, as long as they can find DJ Moore, Tommy Tremble, Visca Chenault. We got Kadarius Toney. I should show everyone that we got, recap from the offseason. But point being, the decision is, what do we do with those 3 picks? Do we stay put? Do we see what quarterback falls to us? Do we maybe only move up a couple spots? It's going to be interesting to see. But outside of DeAndre Swift, who we talked about, we have added Kadarius Toney. We sent Taylor Moton, the turnstile 85 star dev right tackle that just wasn't working for us. Had to ship him out of town. We got Kadarius Toney coming the other way, who's in a very similar circumstance with the New York Giants. Giants didn't really want anything to do with him. He's an old regime draft pick, kind of. I'm not going to say he's a head case, but a little bit of a polarizing player. And it worked out well for both teams. The Giants now have a franchise starting right tackle. They're going to have to probably move. I mean, honestly, you know what they're probably doing? If I was the Giants, I'd be moving maybe Moton into guard. So you have Evan Neal, Andrew Thomas, Taylor Moton kind of rounding out that offensive line. That's probably going to be the best course of action. For us, it's easy. It's plug and play. Kadarius Toney is going to be our big-time playmaker. And I think the fact that you could very easily say that DJ Moore, Kadarius Toney, Visca Chenault, all those guys are like weapon style players, not necessarily refined route runners, not necessarily proven jump ball guys, like typical archetypes you think of wide receiver. All three of these guys are incredibly versatile. I think that is going to work for our offense, but it comes down again to those 3 first-round picks and who the hell is going to be our quarterback. So if I was going to trade it for a quarterback, I'd just say rip the band-aid off. Let's get the #1 overall pick so we can get our guy, which looks like Shane Drew out of South Alabama. And looking at what it would cost us, I mean, again, we always try to take this trade finder with a grain of salt, but more so put us in the direction of, like, what are they looking for? That first offer, I mean, wouldn't be fair, sending a guy that we just traded for in Amari Melvin and Austin Corbett. They're looking for 2 1s and a 4. Even that feels a little like it probably would cost more than the 13th pick, the 23rd pick, and a 4th rounder to get 1-1. Unless this is the game kind of hinting towards us that there's, like, neither of these guys are, like, blue chip quarterbacks. Like, if there was a guy that was 85 generational talent at quarterback, plus, we'd be able to, identify that from all of our scouting. Because there's no top 5 true talent quarterback. Like, I've seen those before. They exist. And there is none of those. So, like, what I'm telling me is that the top quarterbacks in this class are probably 70, high of 78, low of 74, 73, 74, somewhere in that range. I don't think there's going to be an 80-plus quarterback in the class. And I think that's what this haul, that 1-1, is looking for. It speaks to the strength of the class. Or they're looking for our best wide receiver and our defensive tackle, Derek Brown. Now, if we had a top 5 true talent quarterback, I'd probably pay this. I'd probably go and correct this. I'd give them our 2 first rounders, and instead of that 4th, I'd throw in a 2nd rounder, maybe a future 2nd rounder. But I think given the state of this, we see if any of the quarterbacks fall. I'm not in love with the top quarterback. I don't think we should fall for the elite throw power as the be-all, end-all. I think the best course of action for us right now, going into this draft, is step 1. I mean, Drew's going to go 1 overall to the Jets. Let's see if Gary Foote falls, and if he starts maybe into the top 5, which is potential, maybe we'd be a little aggressive. If not, the guy that's the only scheme fit at quarterback, the rope man at a Fresno State who kind of felt like, since we saw his freaking name, was our guy, maybe we just make sure we can get him. We might not be able to stay at 13, but I mean, I don't know what the cutoff point will be. Maybe pick 8, around pick 8, pick 9. We start looking at the teams that are picking there, see where their quarterback situation is. But I'll be shocked if Joe North does go top 10. So I think that is going to be our course of action. I'm not in love with Shane Drew, and while him and Gary Foote both have elite throw power, I don't know they're going to be a lot better than Joel North, and they're going to cost us multiple first-round picks, whereas someone like Joe North probably won't cost us any. We could probably get Joe North and keep all 3 of our first-round picks this draft. Let's see what happens. All right, the draft is here. Let's focus on our pick 13. We are not going to trade up. Pick 1-1. It is going to be Drew out of Alabama. Shane Drew out of Alabama. Pick 2, Chicago Bears shouldn't be picking a quarterback. They have Justin Fields. They go Emmett Harris, who, in my opinion, was the pound-for-pound best player in this draft. If there was anybody that was going to be a generational prospect, it was going to be Emmett Harris. We have the Detroit Lions at pick 3. The last mock draft had them selecting quarterback, and I hope that was wrong, because I would hate to now have to worry about Joe North. I would love to see maybe Foote fall a little bit to make things interesting, but the final mock draft was correct. Gary Foote going to Kentucky. Pick 4, we have the New Orleans Saints. They get Chad Gillis, defensive end out of Minnesota. Pick 5, they have Tom Brady. The Pittsburgh Steelers have Tom Brady. I don't think they'll be drafting a quarterback. They go Marcus Simmons, right tackle. Arizona Cardinals have Kyler Murray. Don't think they're going to be going quarterback. They get Eric Patterson, outside linebacker, Oregon. 49ers have Trey Lance. They are not going to be selecting a quarterback. Pick 8's where it gets interesting. They get DeAndre Mack, the safety out of Stanford. Now it is time for us to start considering our options and not just staying put at 13, as Joe North is the last remaining quarterback. I'm not going to lie, the Falcons might not even be considering quarterback. Not one single mock draft had them going quarterback, but looking at them only having Carson Wentz and Desmond Ridder, I'm gonna at least entertain what's it gonna cost for us to go up to pick 8, and will they even deal with a team within their own division? And honestly, that's not that bad. I mean, I'm not giving Amari Melvin. I don't know why people think I'm just gonna trade DJ Moore after a breakout year, but the Falcons, to move down a couple spots, they are looking for a 2nd round pick next year and our 4th round pick this year for us to go get really the last first-round grade quarterback that we're on board for. I mean, that speaks that the Falcons weren't really considering a quarterback. So we are going to move up, and it has been quite the quarterback evaluation process. And while this is a very anti-pink slips thing of evaluating quarterbacks, going with the quarterback with easily the weakest throw power of the top 5 projection, the rope man, Joel North out of Fresno State. Joel North was simply outstanding for Fresno State this season. The unheralded superstar quarterback of college football in a weak conference led Fresno State to a ridiculous 12-0. They were number 3 ranked. No one ever took them seriously because it was the Mountain West, but they still had the number 1 passing offense, the number 1 passing touchdowns. Luckily, it was a complete clash of styles in the Mountain West Championship. Number 1 passing, number 1 rushing, but passing almost always wins. He was outstanding here today, leading the Fresno State Bulldogs to a victory, sitting at number 3, hoping we could get number 1. You think 4 touchdowns, 336 would be enough? Unfortunately, no one respects the Mountain West. So we go to the Orange Bowl, taking on Alabama. And you would think if Fresno State can take down the Giants of Alabama, it would propel our quarterback, Joel North, to the top of the class. But again, no one respects it. You know he's not much of a dual threat. Took some massive shots. The discrepancy in talent in this matchup was very, very evident, but the talent under center could not be denied as Joel North did everything in his power to keep Fresno State in this game. And they had some absolute freaks on Alabama. And full kudos, honestly, to the wide receivers. They made some plays against a weak Alabama secondary, but it was the will of the rope man, Joel North, doing it with his legs. Not a dual threat by any means, but when you got to do it, you got to do it. Unfortunately, we missed an extra point. It gave Alabama a 1-point lead. All the pressure on Joel North to go win it. Massive throw after massive throw, and he ends an insanely good and productive and legendary senior year of college football at Fresno State with an Orange Bowl victory, the greatest success Fresno State has ever achieved. And you would think he would be the first name off the board. But sitting there as the 3rd quarterback remaining, it was a very easy decision for the Carolina Panthers. Joel North, with his 50 touchdowns, might not have the arm talent of some of the other guys, but he is going to be the man that can bring us to a Super Bowl. Hidden Dev at Fresno State. 83 acceleration, 83 agility, 84 change of direction, 77, 90 throw power is not bad. He just gets that cutoff. You know what I'm saying? It's like one of those things where it's like, he's not 5, he's legit 6 feet on the dot. 233, that is our guy, the rope man, Joel North. So in the meantime, as we await our next selection, I mean, Burrell looks actually kind of solid. He didn't make the favorites, but I think pass rusher could be something intriguing to try to at least challenge Yetur Gross-Matos. But as it relates now between pick 14 and 23, I don't think we're going to be trading up. There's not really anyone that has a first-round projection that we need to get. I'm kind of just waiting to see. A lot of the guys that I do like, I mean, like we got Hobbs is the best wide receiver in the class. He's still on the board. Couple first-round early picks here at tight end. Do we want to add that competition to Tremble? Potentially, because those guys look great. But there's also value at tight end. I'll tell you right now, from the hardest rebuild, I'm still in a little bit of that mindset, the hardest rebuild Madden 23 videos. Elite blocking tight ends with that elite strength. I've seen a couple of them, and that might be a winning formula. I'll just say that for this draft. And I think a blocking tight end would be great. So, look at the rest of the first. We get some offensive lines. Cameron Gaddis, tackles, first rounder. We have Rush and Lindstrom on the offensive line at the guard spot, which, I mean, Corbett's 28. He's getting up there in age a little bit. Could get their successors here. But, maybe they're still there. I don't see anybody that is worth trading up. And likely our best course of action is going to be trading down, accumulating more picks, especially in that second round. But as it stands for right now, we're just going to be patient. Let's see what the board looks like when it comes back to us at 23. Dang, Isaiah Burrell, the pass rusher, just went at 20. Very close to falling to us. Gaddis, the left tackle that we had on our short list, just went at 21. At 22 to the Green Bay Packers. They select Bruce Ford. Wasn't even on our board. So it looks largely, most of our targets are still there. And evaluating our offers, it really came down to 2. I don't really want to stay in 23. It's an awkward spot. So we have the Baltimore Ravens are offering us pick 32 this year, a second-round pick, which is 64 in the second round, and a future 6. But I think the offer I'm going to take, and while you know, it's not going to be a good pick. The Bucs playbook, the Bucs don't suck. The Bucs are never going to be a particularly bad team. So that future first-round pick in 2025 is likely not going to be a top pick. But it still would give us 2 first-round picks next year. So again, we're kind of trying to like evaluate this like Howie Roseman. We get pick 60 in the second round. So we still get that second-round pick that we're looking for. And a 4th-round pick. I think this is what we're going to do. We're going to kick the can down the road just a little bit. Get an additional, so we have 2 firsts next year. In case, you know, we have some ammunition. We get a 2nd round this year, which is where the value picks for us are on our board right now. We're going to do that. And we still have another 1st-round pick in this draft. When they pick, they go tight end. One of our guys on our board, but I mean, I wasn't going tight end in the 1st round. Anthony Hobbs, the top wide receiver. He probably would have been the guy at 28. If he was still there, I just would have said, screw it, you can never have enough good wide receivers. But again, dev trait regression's on. Like, if we get a guy that's at like a position that he's not going to play right away, you know, how hyped can we get for a dev trait? Because they're not going to play. They're going to lose it anyways. We have at 20, we got Hutchinson, another tight end off the board. 26 to the Rams. They get Ben Wilkins, a running back. I mean, we're not even considering running back. And at 27, the Kansas City Chiefs get Chuck Minor, a linebacker out of Notre Dame. We are back on the clock at 28. Let's look at the board. Maybe even consider some trade offers. So we stay at pick 28. Here's kind of what I'm thinking. Best D lineman, we would kick inside the D tackle. Clayton Bentley out of Georgia. A block shed, B power move, A tackle. Not an S tier athlete, but the strength is off the charts. Elite strength. I'm a little worried about the athleticism. Plus, we spent a high draft pick last year on like a pass rush style defensive tackle. And look at the guys that we did our homework on. Bruton is still there, but like, do I want to get Keith Taylor's replacement in the 1st round? I feel like that's not good karma. That's not good vibes. And without, you know, considering rushing or shelding guys that we want to reach for as it relates to 1st rounders. And that's just saying, you know, without looking at what we could potentially trade down for. Guys that won't be there if we trade down. You got Rhett Rush at guard. Lindstrom probably looks like might be like the best bet if we want to stay here. A little worried about the strength potentially, but all those A's look pretty juicy. But again, that's not a pick you make with confidence. That's not a pick that you're like, we have all of our homework done. That guy for sure is going to be an absolute monster. So I think let's just double check one last time, see what we can get from maybe trading out of pick 28. And if it's not great, if we aren't picking up like a good 2nd round pick or multiple 2nd, 3rd round picks, we might just take our guy here at 28. So here are the kind of picks we could potentially trade for or trade out of pick 28. And there are a couple teams that offer us future first. The Bills offer us a future first. The Saints offer us a future first. We have a future first from the Colts. Obviously, that Colts one looks a little interesting because they're not a particularly good team historically. You know, the Bills, they got a great team. The Saints, they're always going to the playoffs. They're within our own division. We know that the Saints are a problem. The Colts, you know, might have a better luck at that being a decent pick. And the way that I'm thinking about this right now is trading a pick this year for a future 1st round pick. There's no one, like, I'm going to have to just, like, you know, blindly pick who I want here at pick 28. There's some guys that look really good, but there's not, like, this is our guy in the 1st round. Versus if we kick all these picks down the road and have 3 first-round picks next year, and there's a guy that looks, walks, smells like a generational talent, be it, you know, at any position. Ideally, maybe not at quarterback, because Joe North is our guy. We can package all 3 of those first-round picks and go get, like, an S-tier type draft prospect. And I feel like that's more entertaining than reaching for a guy that's a 2nd, 3rd round talent at pick 28 right now. So with the Colts, we would get a future first, a future 3rd, and a 7th round pick this year. Another offer that was interesting is the Raiders are offering us a 2nd and a 3rd round pick this year. Now these are, you know, round pick 10 of the 2nd round, pick 10 of the 3rd round, and I feel like it needs to be, I needed like something else. I needed like one more 3rd round pick in there kind of deal. Like even if there was like a future 2nd or a future 3rd, for me to pull that trigger, because if not, I mean, we could be aggressive in the 2nd round. Our 2nd round pick right now in this draft is at pick 28. So we're going to have to wait, and we're probably going to miss some of our 2nd, 3rd round guys. We're most likely going to have to trade up and be aggressive to go get someone in the 2nd round here that we really, really want. I think that's our best thing. Get aggressive in the 2nd round, pick up a future 1st round pick from the Indianapolis Colts, and it gives us the luxury of next year's draft. If there's that blue chip S tier type guy, no one else is gonna have 3 picks. We can go up and get them, which, let's do it, man. All right, this is the first, like, we got burned a little bit. Sean Rushing was very high on our draft board and was one of the guys I was considering potentially trading up for in this 2nd round. Like a lot of guys, we're gonna have to go after this draft, look at the recap, and see really what kind of ratings they pulled. But sitting here, who do we want to get? I think Jared Sheldon is certainly up there right now. B block shed, A pursuit, A tackle, B zone coverage. It's not a super important position, but he looks like a hell of a player, and he's a great athlete. 4, 5, 6 speed. The 3 cone, the 20-yard shuttle are all good. The bench press is outstanding. He's the strongest linebacker at his spot. He's a guy that might be worth trading up for. Justin Brock, another linebacker. Also, B block shed, B tackle, A zone coverage. And we got an exceptional athlete. 4, 4, 6 speed at 6'1", 245. We got good vert, good broad jump, great 3 cone and 20-yard shuttle. So there's 2 linebackers that I'd feel great selecting. Outside of that, we got 2 tight ends that look pretty solid, but I almost feel like let's just get the blocking tight end here. Day 3, I feel like he's going to be a great player. But there's some linemen. Dave Franklin looks good. The top center in the class also is he's right there. He's right there with the linebackers. Brent Edwards in a perfect draft right now, knowing that we have 2 picks in the second round. Getting Edwards, getting Springs, potentially the guard out of Ohio State, Dave Franklin, the guard out of Arkansas, and one of those linebackers. Like, getting a lineman and a linebacker right now seems like our ideal second round with our draft picks. No real corners, no real pass rushers that scream draft me. CJ Burgess out of UCLA, maybe at D tackle, 6'4", 304. We got C block shed, A finesse move, B tackle, and the combine. He has elite speed, elite jump. I mean, you don't really necessarily need elite jumping, but I see a guy that's the fastest and the near strongest defensive tackle. I'm very intrigued. So add him to the list. But he's a 3rd, 4th round guy. Might be able to get him in the 3rd round. So I think right now, again, we're at a spot where, like, maybe we just start simming, and if we see Edwards, we see Springs, we see, CJ Burgess, we see one of the linebackers, Sheldon and or Brock, start going off the board, maybe we consider trading up. But right now, it's kind of a logjam of prospects. I don't want to lose any more picks than what we have to. All right, Isaiah Perry went pick 10 to the Raiders. He was kind of on our short list. Looked like a great tight end, honestly. Top center goes to the Jacksonville Jaguars at pick 12. Brent Edwards out of Auburn. Justin Brock, the linebacker of Ohio State, goes to the Titans. I'm thinking it's time we at least, what does it cost to move up? All right, we have secured the trade up. We have traded our 2nd round pick and our 5th round pick this year, as well as a future 4th to jump up 11 spots so that we can at least get one of our guys here in the 2nd round. I also think we trust Luke Kuechly. Jared Sheldon was a player he identified early. He was a player that a lot of mock drafts had us getting in the 1st round. And he's a great player, great scheme fit. I'd be shocked if he's bad. Might not have a dev, but very athletic. Could pop with a dev trait, but he's going to be immediate competition to see if he could start and compete with Brandon Smith for that left outside linebacker spot. So Jared Sheldon out of Penn State. Luke Kuechly wants you. And let's go. No dev, 89 acceleration, 85 jumping, 79 strength. Let's hope coach wasn't wrong. But now it's a massive wait to the 4th round, but a wait we're going to have to make. There's no way we were trading back into the 2nd round or the 3rd round. So kind of looking at, what does our board look like? What is still standing amongst all of the carnage of the last couple rounds? So we are now going into the 4th round. We still have Mike. I'm not going to draft a linebacker at this point. We probably could get rid of those guys. We have Callaway at running back. He looks kind of interesting. Michael O'Neal, the blocking tight end, could be a good fit. Got Keelan Smith, who looks great outside of that run block. He's probably still going to be a good player. Like, that looks like a guy for sure that's going to be, like, in the 70s. Ideally, a dev trait could potentially save him. A couple corners, couple DBs that could come to one of the best DB rooms. Gabriel Nance at D tackle, day 3 selection. Got B finesse move, B tackle as well. Would be nice depth to add on. But I think right now, if I had to rank where I'd be looking at players, it got to be either the tight end, the center, one of those 2. Just out of curiosity, Atlanta has literally drafted off my big board. Like, if they get the tight end or center here at 15, they've literally just poached my draft board. They did not. Thank God. All right, drum roll, please. 27, the Chiefs. They went, okay, maybe that's, I don't know, man. We're at what spot? Do we prioritize bringing in a center that might be able to play over Bozeman? Or do we prioritize literally having a 2nd tight end on the roster? That's like, what's Tremble's contract? Did we recently like extend him or anything, or is he gonna be like set to be looking for some money? He's on a 1-year deal. I'm not saying we're gonna be able to replace that with a blocking tight end, but The uncertainty is much more at the the tight end spot than it is at center. So we'll get. I think that's where we're gonna go, man. We'll grab that. We'll grab that tight end, Mr. Michael O'Neill out of Syracuse, blocking tight end, D-catching, which is a little off-putting, but the athleticism is absolutely ridiculous. And I kind of want to gamble on a good athlete. You know, when in doubt, you're not gonna have to develop much this year. You're not gonna play a lot. You're literally gonna be blocking. It is going to be Tommy Tremble's show, especially with how he finished last season. But there's an athlete in there that we can develop that gives us a little insurance in case Tommy Tremble, or all intentions as it stands right now, is we're going to try to extend Tommy Tremble because he was amazing for us. So, you know, ideally, this is going to be a nice tight end too. Let's see what we got. Michael O'Neill out of Syracuse, the blocking tight end, hidden dev. Only, what? It's like one of the fastest tight ends in the class, and he only gets 80 acceleration, 80 speed, 73 agility. Does have a lot of blocking. Does have a lot of strength to go with that blocking. I mean, I'll take the hidden dev, but I feel like those combine numbers are a little misleading. And we are now not picking to the 7th round. We're just going to chill. We have 2 picks remaining in the 7th round. And I think we'll start with we'll start with one of these centers. We got Mitchell Gibson out of Baylor. B awareness, B pass block, C impact block. Athletically speaking, got good speed, good change of direction, solid acceleration. In comparison, we have Craig Chamberlain out of South Florida. A awareness, B pass block. Combine also looks pretty fair, but he has elite agility. So I almost feel like when in doubt, go with the elite stats. So Craig Chamberlain, you're going to come in and challenge, or at least push, Bradley Bozeman as our center depth. And let's go. Final pick in the draft. Pick 30 for the Carolina Panthers. Do we have anyone left on our board that's not a special teamer? Yes, we do. We have Mike Anthony, who's slipping. I'm a little worried. That's a little suspect. It's really down to 3 linebackers. I mean, we'll pick the best linebacker, I suppose. Mike Anthony. We have A zone coverage, B pursuit, C tackle, and we got, you know, great numbers. Speed's a little suspect. Probably what he fell a little bit, but could he be like a Darius Leonard, slipping because he ran a bad 4 time? Not a good player. We got Cameron Moses out of Cincinnati, little less, but look at the athleticism. He is 6'2", 260, and we got 4.58 speed. Bench press is strong. Vertical jump's great. The broad jump is great. Not so much, you know, a guy that's going to be great in space. Or you have Sheldon Patterson, the linebacker from Houston. We got B tackle. We also have great athleticism. Elite speed. Kind of what I like to see. I think we'll grab him. Final pick, Patterson. He's going to be a special teamer. So, looks good. Looks good for special teams. All right, Mode of Truth. Draft recap time. See how well we did. We got Joe North, 74, hidden dev quarterback. I mean, yes, you know, kind of in the range that we were expecting. A field general, a scheme fit. Oddly enough, 74 strong arm archetype for a guy with only 90 throw power. So that kind of works in there. We got 86 medium accuracy, 87 short accuracy, 78 deep, 76 awareness. Very aware player. I mean, this is a guy, grew up. His dad, one of the best arms in his respected business. Great accuracy in his respected business. And Joe North went to Fresno State. Not the biggest school, but a school that has produced NFL caliber quarterbacks. Last big time one, Derek Carr. Obviously with Devontae Adams there. And we're definitely hoping Joe North becomes better than Derek Carr. Jared Sheldon, we were worried about the no dev. No dev's not great. But a 74 overall. This is a guy who was second, third round. Getting got 74 overall is exceptional. He's going to be able to come in right away as a rookie and compete for some starting reps. 83 tackle, 85 speed, 89 acceleration, 80 pursuit, 76 block shed, 78 play rack. Very smart player, 79 strength. Might want to see the coverage be up just a little bit. Not his strengths. Maybe, you know, run defender, bring him in on. Obviously, that's his archetype there. We got Michael O'Neill, our hidden dev blocking tight end out of Syracuse. Definitely needs refinement as a receiver. In fact, he's gonna be able to maybe he has to, maybe he's a fullback. Maybe he takes over the Ian Thomas role and we have Ian Thomas revert back to a tight end, even though that's not the plan, because Ian Thomas is an exceptional tight end, even though he has 0 blocking stats. But happy that we got our 2 hidden devs. It's kind of the quota. Last year's draft, we ended up with 2 hidden dev players. Chamberlain was a UDFA grade, and we got a 64 depth center. Patterson was UDFA grade, and we got a 66 overall linebacker depth. but it's all about those first 3 picks. It's all about the first pick. It's all about Jordan North. So now we have some of the names still familiar in the draft. Let's go look around the ratings, kind of window shop a little bit of what everyone else got, and see how Joe North compares. All right, let's peek around the rest of the league, see what happened. Shane Drew, the man that we considered trading, and I would have been a first, and a second to go out to pick one. 74, same rating as Joel North, and he has no dev trade. I would have lost my mind. Even though, yes, he got 94 throw power, and the stats look pretty good. Great athlete as well. I would have been upset. No dev trade. Trading all that. You know, if we had somehow the first pick, we didn't have to move anything, and we ended up getting like, all right, fine. The dev trade doesn't make or break a player. He has great stats. We could probably play himself into a dev trade increase. But trading, like, pretty much multiple drafts for a normal dev player would have been bad. Emmett Harris, the corner of Syracuse, was like the guy that I identified as like the easy top player in this draft, and he looks like it. 81 with the hidden dev. I mean, was never really in play for us because our secondary is so good already, but he looks absolutely awesome. What a pick for the Chicago Bears. Him and Jalen Johnson will be nice. Gary Foote was the other quarterback of the big 3. He's 74 with a hidden dev. So all in all, not really having to move up a whole lot. Getting a quarterback that's the exact same as the other 2 quarterbacks. Now, we don't have the throw power, but we have the dev trade. I'm happy with it, man. We made the right call as it relates to the quarterback spot. Let's take a look now. We got some good play. Ooh, DeAndre Mack at a Stanford, 80 hidden dev. Also a very good player for the San Francisco 49ers here. But we traded with the Atlanta Falcons, and with their selection, I mean, something that will be always tied. They got Carson Kuhn, pass rusher out of Miami, 75 overall. So a 1-point overall difference, but he is still just a normal dev. Looks like, you know, a solid pass rusher for sure. Intense personality. What does that mean? That's like something like the Dallas Cowboys look for when they draft first-round players. More so players that we were interested in. Greg Peters was another one of the top quarterbacks. He's 70 with a normal dev, so we kind of, you know, obviously he was never really in contention, but just, you know, you got to look at the rest of the quarterback class when you draft one. Isaiah Burrell, he was a guy that we potentially considered with one of our later round picks. He's normal dev, so we kind of dodged a bullet there. And why do we keep resetting the first pick of the draft? Fix it. Gaddis at offensive tackle was another guy we kind of considered for those second and third first round picks. He's 74. Saunders at tight end, 75. Anthony Hobbs, this was a close one. Best wide receiver. He's only just a normal dev as well. 6'3", 220, 93 speed. I mean, he looks like a great player. Way better than what a normal dev player should kind of look like in the first round. But, I mean, again, when you are kind of in the business of chasing dev traits a little bit, that would have been a little frustrating. Max Hughes, another quarterback, 74. Maybe the value quarterback, no dev. So he has the same rating as the top quarterbacks in the class, better throw power than Joel North. But everything else kind of in favor of our quarterback. So I think given the price, we got the best quarterback in the draft. And that's absolutely something we are going to pat ourselves on the back for. For the rest of, I mean, you got Torrey Younger there, 64. What a bust. Glad that we didn't draft him. Will Bruton out of Michigan. He was on our draft board. He was sitting there for a little minute. He is just normal dev. Glad we didn't, you know, burn and piss off Keith Taylor by bringing in a normal dev player. Let's actually just go to the second round here. What else? Just more so names that we've kind of familiarized ourselves with. Rhett Rush was a guy on our short list. Hidden dev guard out of Vanderbilt. He looks pretty solid. I'm not going to expose you. I think in a regular rebuild or anything where we can go see their dev tray. We'll leave that up to the imagination. Lindstrom was another guy on our short list. He's 74 hidden dev. But given the current state of our team, I think burning an early pick on a guard, burning a first-round pick on a guard wouldn't have made a whole lot of sense. Robert O'Neill, was he on our short board? I don't think so. But rushing was. He was the first guy that kind of fell. He's normal dev. So that worked out kind of well. He wasn't really even a scheme fit, but he was a guy. I'll tell you right now, if he was still on the board, we probably would have drafted him. Isaiah Perry at tight end. This is a guy that had multiple A ratings. He is hidden dev, 6'6". I mean, there's your Darren Waller replacement. Outstanding. He's like Kyle Pitts almost. This guy's an X factor. We might live to regret it. I mean, he can do it all. He can block, he can catch, he can run. What a freak. That might be we had him on our short list. We identified that he'd be sick, I suppose. Brett Edwards at center. He was a guy that was also considered 74 with a hidden dev out of Auburn. Good pick there for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Brock was a linebacker we were considering between him and Sheldon. Both of them normal dev. So our guy, obviously 1 overall point better, which we will take. these other quarterbacks. Third round. What do we got in the third round? Let's see if I can just see familiar names. Patterson was on our short list, a D-tackle out of North Carolina. He's 74. No dev trait. At this point, I mean, seeing a high rating is like, oh yeah, we had the right. But you always want to see, like, was there someone that we passed on? Franklin was on our short list. He has a dev trait. That would have been a nice pick at left guard there. 91 strength for our team. Probably would have came in, competed for that right guard spot. Jalen Jowers was one of the tight ends we were kind of looking at. He has hit. I mean, I'm happy with the tight end we got, even though it's a blocking one. He's not nearly as prolific of a receiver. I'm not going to complain that we got a hidden depth tight end when we did. But you can't look, especially Perry, man, the goddamn successor down there in Vegas. Looks great. CJ Burgess was a D-tackle we were considering. He's normal dev. Not a lot of dev trait guys. If we would have got, like, if we had a bunch of picks, we were going full-on rebuild. We would have had a bunch of guys that are 70+. Going into the fourth round, this is where we got our tight end. It was between him and the center. Keelan Smith, who had the F, was it pass blocking? But he's 71. No depth trait really. At 71 would have been great depth for us to add on the offensive line. He would have been like, what, 2 overall points behind Bozeman. For what it's worth, I did have this fullback shortlisted. Colin Looney, hidden dev fullback. Now he's like one of those weird fullbacks. Like 6'3", 225. Like, he said Indiana. That's like the kind of fullback that comes out of like Navy. But 90 lead blocking. This guy would have been absolutely hilarious. 75 catching as well. But all in all, very happy with our draft. You know, you could have said, you know, second round, no dev trait. We didn't have a whole lot of picks. Maybe we could have, you know, traded back and got more picks for this year's draft because we had a lot of guys identified that were great players, 70+ rating players. Not a lot of hidden devs, but I think for where we were at, for where there was, do we trade a bunch of picks to go get a quarterback? Do we stay put? The fact that we end up with, at least on paper, throw power aside, maybe the best quarterback in the class. And we have 3 first-round picks next year. You know, that's a win. That's a win every day of the week. And I guess while we were, let's at least do some scouting within the division. Saints had a great draft. 3 players, 70+. They got Chad Gills, a hidden dev pass rusher out of Minnesota. So that's like their Cam Jordan replacement. They got Lorenzo Baker, depth in the backfield, another hidden dev player to come in and be RB2 behind Kamara. And then in the 4th round, they got Blake White, who was the quarterback that we actually scouted. That was going to be like, if we didn't decide to go quarterback the first round, he would have been our value pick, 92-3. He actually looks like a solid quarterback. And knowing the Saints playbook being what it is, he's probably going to win the MVP if he ever gets an opportunity to start. What else we have within the division? We have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They got Roy Saunders, tight end out of Michigan. Hit it down. Like, it looks all right so far. Like, everyone else in the division had baller draft classes. Good to know. They got Newkirk. I mean, we could check everyone else for depth trait, but in terms of impact, they absolutely hit in their first round. And the Falcons were the pain in the ass. Rushing, Franklin were all picks that we considered. And so Kuhn was normal dev. Rushing was normal dev. Franklin was a hidden dev guard. But the fact that they got 2 guys for sure that were high on our short list, especially in day 2 of the draft, is annoying for the Falcons. But I think you're weighing all these drafts. Given the importance of the quarterback spot, I think you give the Carolina Panthers the best draft out of the NFC North. All right, fellas, that is where we are going to wrap up today's episode. A little bit of a quick episode, but we will be back very, very shortly. Today's Tuesday? I'm probably Thursday. We will have an episode that will go the whole preseason, kind of just get our way through that, but focus on the regular season. I got a lot of stuff to do today. My kids are home from school. So the one thing I'll let you guys answer in closing, because I took a sneak peek, and I'm not going to say it's good or bad. I'm going to say that it will spoil. You know, if you look at the weekly strategy, I'm not going to go to it, and you go to the players that you have in your bonus training. A bug, I think, is it shows the dev traits if you have an X factor. It doesn't show anything if you have a superstar, but it shows it if you have an X factor. Do you guys want to see it? Because I already know what at least 3 of them are. We only have 3 spots unlocked. It might just be 3 question marks. We might have 3 X factors. Do you guys want to see it? Or do you want me to kind of keep that under wraps, and as we unlock it during the regular season, you'll find out if our guys have star, superstar, or X factor. Let me know And based upon what you guys want to see, the consensus, that is how we'll open up the next episode. But the next episode will be the entirety of the preseason, as well as week 1 of the regular season on the road against the Dallas Cowgirls, the team that just is fresh off a Super Bowl loss. But we'll leave you with some interesting UDFAs that we got a lot of roster spots here. So first, we're going to look at Cliff Bost. I'd like to add another running back to the backfield. He is a 66 receiving back rookie out of Oregon. Doesn't have the best speed, but the fact that you look at his receiving ability, 75 catching, 75 route running, absolutely improves the room in case we don't find, if there's an injury to DeAndre Swift, which he's injury prone. We need a guy that can come in on third downs, be that weapon to replace Christian McCaffrey, and Boss is the best of the UDFAs. Need some wide receiver depth. Dean McLeod, who we actually had on the roster last year, still an available free agent. Why not? 1-year deal. Prolific speed added to the back end of the roster. I was going to take a look at CJ Williams, UDFA at a Bowling Green State. Clearly just going with athleticism here. 95 speed, 95 acceleration, 91 jumping, plus 74 catching. Not too bad for a guy that's that fast. We're also going to take a look at Manu Guerrero at a Clemson 6'5 receiving tight end, just to have our 4th tight end on the roster, so we don't have like an offensive lineman filling in on that spot. I'm going to grab Josh Sewell as well on the offensive line. Athletic tackle out of West Virginia. Ready not be great, but 87 strength, 84 lead block, to go 75 speed, 79 accelerations, which is ridiculous for a UDFA caliber lineman. Again, I know a lot about UDFAs. I just did a whole series about drafting him. This guy looks kind of good. Could be at least at worst, a practice squad stash. Rashad White's one of the highest rated UDFAs, so, why not see if he can stick on to the back end of the roster. 66 overall, solid athlete, 83 speed, 83 acceleration, 85 hit power, good pursuit, good strength, and, not absolute liability in coverage. And the last of the bunch, get a little bit of a pass rusher here in Adam Russell at a Lehigh rookie. Small, who's that, Philly? We got solid athlete, 87 acceleration, 79 speed at 260, 74 pursuit, 70 power move, 76 block shed, which is one of the best in the entirety of the class, let alone just a UDFA. He might have a shot. I don't know how advisable it is to sign up Hunter with the idea of throwing him on your practice squad, but as much as Johnny Hacker's a monster, get up there in age, he's expensive. So Brian Eaton, UDFA, 96 kick power, 79 accuracy. Maybe we could stash that on the roster. And kind of just filling out the rest of the team ahead of the preseason. I was actually kind of surprised to see a certain player still available, but Quez Watkins is still there. So the least I could do for Quez, especially with how a couple big games down that playoff stretch, we'll throw him a couple bucks. I also think, even just for the mentor tag for Joel North, it's worth bringing Nick Foles back. We know if there's an injury, got a pinch, that guy can do the job. He can get it done. Zach Moss was one of our targets in free agency. He's still just chilling there. Why not? We were interested before. You're still here, and it's even cheaper. You never have enough mentors on the roster, especially, just for the preseason, to have some guys get some boosts. Our corner room is young, so let's throw in someone like Pat Pete, get some XP boost. And in closing, here is where our squad finishes after I don't want to say it's tumultuous offseason, but an offseason that saw us trade away arguably the best offensive player in the NFL in Christian McCaffrey. Saw us have 3 first-round picks. We go into next year with 3 first-round picks. We got a brand new franchise quarterback, we hope, in Joel North, the rope man out of Fresno State, who looks to prove that he is going to be the best out of a quarterback class, that there's really not a lot of separation between really the big 4 names there. We saw the big 3 and even the outside quarterback, 74 with the no-def. So it's going to be interesting to see how all of their careers kind of play out. On the offense, we have a brand new right tackle. No more revolving door Taylor Moton. We are very, very excited for Amari Melvin, second-year player out of Texas, to shore up the offensive line. Bring the level of play that we've had on the left-hand side with Ike Ekwonu and have that happen to the right side. We got 2 new competent tight ends. We throw in Kadarius Toney coming here. Excited to see what we can do. Quez Watkins is back in the building. We got Chuba Hubbard, Zach Moss, the running back room, while we're short a CMC. DeAndre Swift, if he can stay healthy, which we proved with an injury-prone running back in Christian McCaffrey, who we could keep healthy. That can happen with DeAndre Swift. He's going to make everybody that drafted him in fantasy football this year in real life very proud here in this series. He's going to be a massive part of the offense. Defensively, not so much turnover. Didn't really have to fix a lot. This defense was elite. We have a brand new potential starting linebacker. If he starts sucking to particularly short leash, we can go with the freak Brandon Smith. But Sheldon, our second-round pick, is going to start. Clearly a player that Luke Kuechly identified while he was a member of our scout team. So for that, we are going to trust Luke Kuechly. He knows linebackers better than just about anyone. Keith Taylor's rated running back as the starting free safety and controller. The guy with the green dot on his helmet. He is calling the plays. He is the man that Luke Kuechly is in conversation with to run the Bermuda Triangle defense. The best secondary in the NFL. I am very excited to get things underway. So the next episode, fellas, will be the entirety of the preseason, as well as kicking off year number 3, week 1 on the road against the Dallas Cowboys. You aren't going to want to miss it. But let me know in the comment section below, do you guys want to see the dev traits in the weekly training? I mean, you will see it eventually, but it's just, you want to see it during the preseason or not, I guess, because it could be cool. It could also be late. It could be a letdown. I'm not trying to lead on either way, but it's something that I want you guys to kind of vote on. Or do I hide it until we figure out what Joel North, what the tight end, what their devs are? But that's for you guys to decide. I am excited to record the next episode, and I hope you guys are as well to watch it. So until next time, it's your boy C4. Save it first time stop by. Don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. Getting very close to 160,000 subscribers. That'd be awesome. We can hit that sooner than later. Smash the like button if you enjoyed. Leave a comment about anything you saw here in today's video. The YouTube robots appreciate that, which in turn helps out my channel more than you guys know. And I'll see you guys back here on the next one. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time, peace out. Love ya, and have a good one.